Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Unexpected Entrepreneur Podcast. Today, we are back with one of our past clients, and we're super excited to talk about the entire rebrand process. But before we get started, would you like to introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are, what you do, how long you've been in business, anything like that?
Yeah, so my name is Andrea Cakmar. I am a wedding photographer based in Southern Arizona. I have been doing weddings and elopements for 8 years now, and I'm lucky enough to be able to do weddings not just in Arizona, but get to travel quite a bit and do weddings all across the country and internationally.
No, your work, even like some of the international stuff that we were like looking at as we were on this putting the site together, we were like, this looks so good. And it always looks like so much fun. So we're always, jealous of people that get to travel and go to all these cool places with their clients. But if we're thinking back to your kind of brand and websites, were you having any challenges with kind of everything as a whole before you reached out to us, or what was kind of the like, okay, I think it's time to do this?
Yeah, definitely. So I have been doing all of my own branding and graphic design, web design, everything since I started in 2016. I was someone that was like, I'm like mediocre good at art. I can just do all this myself. And it worked fine when I was just getting started, but the further I got in business, the more I realized I just didn't have the skills necessary to be continuing to do my own branding and website. So I've probably felt that way for like 2 years now, and I'm so excited that I finally took the plunge and made the investment, and it's been so worth it.
I feel like there's always that hard like line of like I'm okay at this and I feel like I could put something together, but like should I? And I feel like we run into that all the time with brand photos. We're like we know how to take like we take photos when we travel, like we know how to take photos, but like are they going to turn out as well as if we just hired a brand photographer and like worked with I feel like we should just, you know, put our we can do this aside and go hire someone. But I feel like that's kind of a spot where a lot of people are at, where they're like, I kind of feel like I can do this, but like also is it going to be as great as if I had someone else do it? And part of it's just like separating yourself from
Mhm.
the like business and from the work. It can be really hard. Like sometimes we even struggle with our own brand, like coming up with stuff for it, just because you're so like connected and intertwined with it.
Definitely. I feel like there's like two parts of it. Like part of it is like it's nice to have someone that's completely outside of it, see it from
Hmm.
the outside and have like that entirely different perspective on what my business looks like. And then there's the other side of it, which is all of the technical stuff that I know nothing about. Like I can do the aesthetic stuff, the creative stuff, a-okay. But especially with web design, there's so many technical elements that are way outside anything I'm capable of doing at this point.
Yeah, I feel like that's like I can take a photo. Can I edit a photo really well? Probably not. Like that's my like I have just one little thing, but like the whole to put the whole package together, sometimes they're just like I think I'm out of my depth a little bit and it's not going to turn out as well as it should.
Definitely.
So, since we launched the site, how have they been working the brand and the website? How has it been working for you? Have you seen any kind of transformations or results or, clients, other people that you know? Because I know you know a ton of photographers and, work with a lot of people. Like, what's the kind of response and results been?
I mean, firstly, I got so many compliments when the brand came out that it was something that just felt very true to what I've been, trying to be for the past few years. And especially from other photographers, just a lot of really positive feedback on the clean, like how clean the website is, how
Mhm.
professional it looks, but also how much character it has. And so that's been really great on a professional level. And then from clients' perspectives, I feel like I haven't necessarily noticed like this huge shift in inquiries, but definitely just this undercurrent of just like really consistent inquiries that are in the vein that I want to be, which is
Mhm.
something that I've, been hoping for forever, but it's nice to kind of see that coming to fruition even within just a few months.
Yeah, I feel like there's that big difference of like you don't necessarily just want to have a bunch of inquiries come in because yes, that's great, but if you have a bunch of inquiries come in that aren't aligned, you're
Yeah.
still kind of in that same spot of not getting the type of people that you want to get, which, going back to what you said of it looking really professional but still kind of having that personality, that's what's that like standout factor of, you know, getting those aligned people, getting the people that are already like, yes, or I know I want to work with you, or like, this is what I've been searching for. It's that personality and those little things that are added throughout that connect with them. And, that's the goal ultimately. Because if we can have people that like, we don't even have to sell to them or try and, you know, convince them or have all these conversations. They're like, no, you're it. Like, that's the dream right there.
I think that's the other thing too, is I've noticed a lot of the inquiries that are coming in are they don't have a lot of questions, which is
Mm-hmm.
nice. I mean, I still like to meet with clients and stuff, but it's nice when they're coming to me and they're like, "Oh, we know everything now. Like we already have so much information about you, and we already, you know, we know all of this from your website and from your branding and from everything that's been told to us so far." So it's nice to know that all that work, you know, worked. You know, like it
Yeah.
all exactly the way it was supposed to.
I feel like there's always this back and forth with, you know, a lot of photographers we work with where they're like, I want to show off my work and like have all these photos on the site, and like the photos should speak for themselves. But then also on the, you know, flip side, that actual information on your site, like your clients want to know that, and they don't. Like, I'm very much the person where if I don't love phone calls, I don't love, you know, talking to people. So like I will find a doctor or dentist where I can book an appointment online and I don't have to make a phone call to like call in. So, you know, having that information where I'm like, okay, I have all of this stuff. Yes, I may have one or two questions, but like I know the big major things that I need to know about you, about the process, about what it looks like, about what you offer, whatever it is, right on the site. Like that's so helpful. And if people are looking at a bunch of photographers and you're the one that stands out and gives them all of that, like that's also something that's going to stand out in their mind and be like, oh, well, they were super helpful and like actually just laid everything out. So I don't have to write down 37 questions that I need to ask them about my wedding or my elopement or whatever it is. Like it's all really clear and concise, and it sets that, you know, initial client experience of what they can expect when they start to work with you.
Definitely. And as someone who also like just got married, there's so you just don't have a lot of time to be
Mm-mm.
wondering all of these things when there's someone else that has all the answers available for you. So, you know, as much as I love meeting with clients, I do recognize that for them, they probably met with 10 people this week and they're probably a little over it. So, it's nice to be able to be giving them all that information up front too.
Yeah. And you got to think too, like you're not the only vendor that they're even, you know, looking at. Like they're probably trying to book a, you know, venue and a wedding planner and, you know, think about what they want to do for a florist or, you know, whatever the scale of their wedding is. Like the more we can kind of, I feel like wedding planning in general is a very overwhelming thing to do. So the more we can kind of bring that stress, that overwhelm and be more transparent, I feel like it just like relaxes people and they're like, okay, this is a good move. Let me just go with this one thing checked off my list and I'm happy.
Definitely. I always say like my goal is to answer questions that they don't even know they have yet. And so
Mm-hmm.
whether that's on the website or online or in a meeting, you know, it's nice to be streamlining the process for them and for me as much as possible.
Absolutely. If you're thinking back to the process, was there anything that kind of stood out to you as like your favorite part of it, or anything that kind of surprised you throughout the entire process?
Overall, I just remember I was always so excited every time I got an email that was like a draft is ready or you know a proof is up for me to view and look through, and so it was always really exciting. I remember on multiple occasions I would be out with friends and be like, "Oh my gosh, like I need to I need to look at this right now," and so I would pull it up and go through stuff. And so I remember it just being a very it was not overwhelming in any way, but like a very exciting and like
Mm-hmm.
positive process. Like every step of it just felt like it was getting closer to what I wanted without ever feeling overwhelming
Mm-hmm.
in workload for me. Like I was really worried. I've had so many friends that have done rebrands where they're like, yeah, you know, even though I hired someone, like it was so much work.
Yeah.
And you know, there's you know still a lot of things to be done, website copy and stuff. But overall, I just felt like there was so much like positivity in the process.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things where it is in one sense we like to take a lot of that workload off and do things. There are obviously some things that we, you know, can't do and it is going to be a little bit of work up front, but we always like to try and make it that like, you know, upfront work, you're putting in a little bit of time and effort, and then the whole project weeks, it's just like super exciting things and not like tedious or boring things or things that you're like, "Ugh, like I have to do this." You're like, all I have to do is leave feedback. Like that is awesome, and we like to make it super super clear because I mean, just like when we're working with like when you're working with people who are getting married, they're have 4 million things going on and are super, you know, stressed and overwhelmed. We know that y'all are in that same spot and like we don't want to make it more difficult and add more to your plate, but we always like to give that, you know, the entire process is very expected, but then you get those kind of unexpected surprises through the design. So always really happy when everyone's like, it felt like Christmas morning every time I got an email.
Yeah, I mean, in so many ways, the website is not at all what I had originally like gone into the process thinking I wanted, but it feels so much more me and so
Mhm.
much less just, I feel like I was going into it like seeing like, oh, I like A photographer, B photographer, C photographer, like I want that. And then not realizing that even though I like those things, they weren't necessarily me and my brand and everything. And so there's so many things about my website that even now like are unexpected to what I thought I wanted and so much closer to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially like where you are, like there's a lot of photographers and there's a lot of, it's a very dense, I mean, realistically, like the Southwest in general has a lot of wedding and elopement photographers. So you kind of get in that space of like, okay, here's what people are doing. And like, I want to do something a little different, but like these people are all doing it really well. And I feel like sometimes it's hard to be like, what, that's great, but like, what is me and what actually feels like me and looks like me and, is going to make me stand out. So it's always that little bit of like, again, just sometimes you just can't do it as well on your own as you can with someone else, just because it's the experience, it's the knowledge, it's the expertise. The same reason someone's going to hire you to do wedding photos. I think sometimes those outside perspectives are really the things that you're like, oh my God, I would have never thought of that. But like, that's so cool. And that matches, my overall vision way better. So it definitely, we love kind of digging into, the personality and kind of what you actually, like and don't like and what you like about it. I feel like those little tiny questions that we ask that kind of don't seem super relevant are the ones where you're like, oh, that actually gave you all of this information that like helped do all of this, which is really great.
Definitely.
So I have one more question for you. Since launching the brand website, how confident do you feel with it now?
I feel so much better than I did before. Like I said, everything I've done has been done by hand. And there has always just been a little bit like, oh my God, people are going to know that I did it myself. People are going to see that this wasn't done professionally and that I'm using the same website I did in high school. And so it's kind of nice now to be able to share my website with potential clients on Facebook comments and on my Instagram bio, like wherever it is, and just be fully confident and everything that's on the website and be like, I am fully aware of every bit of this website and I'm really, really happy with it and proud to like share it all the time. And that feels really good because it's been a long time since I felt that way about a website.
We love that. That's always our goal. We always want that kind of transformation from like, I'm setting my website because I have to and it has the information that you need, but like it does like just ignore how it looks and just like look at the information to like, no, like this looks great and it's going to give you a good representation of like what the whole process is going to look like, what it's like working with me, who I am, what I do. And like if you like that, then you're going to like me. And I feel like that's the big like, if that's the first step in the door and they're like, if you don't like this, we might not be the right fit. If this looks, if you love this, then, let's talk and it might be, the perfect match for you.
Definitely.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking about all of this. If people want to check out your new brand and website, where can they find you online?
My website is www.andreacakmar.com and my Instagram is at andrea.cakmar.
Perfect. Well, we'll link both of those down into the description. You should definitely go check them out and check out all of her incredible work. But thank you again so much for coming on with us today, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Thank you so much.